Hello, chemistry students. Today we are going to talk about acids, specifically the naming and writing formulas of acids. Now this is review. You learned about this first semester, but let's go over it again because we haven't used it in a while. Acids, the acid names and the formulas all depend on the anion. Now remember, the anion is everything that's after the H, because in first year chemistry we are only going to deal with acids that begin with the letter H or the atom hydrogen. So let's take some examples. Down here, if the anion ends in "ide," we are going to take the anion name, we're going to add hydro to it, and we're going to change the "ide" to "ic." So an example is HCl. The anion is chloride. It ends in "ide," so we're going to add hydro to it. So it's hydrochlor. The chlor is the stem. We're going to change our "ide" to "ic." So that would be hydrochloric acid. Now if our anion ends in "ate," we're going to take our stem name and we're going to change the "ate" to "ic." And don't forget to add acid. So an example, H2SO4. Now remember, our anion is everything that's after the H. So SO4 is after the H. We need to find out what the name of that is. The anion name for SO4 is sulfate. So we're going to change our "ate" to "ic," and it will be sulfuric acid. Sulfur and phosphorus are the odd ones. Sulfate is the anion name, and for phosphorus it would be phosphate. We need to add the UR back onto sulfur, and we need to add the OR back onto phosphorus. Those are the only two exceptions that we're going to deal with. And lastly, if the anion ends in "ite," we are going to change that "ite" to "us," and then add the word acid. An example right here is sulfite. We change our "ite" to "us," and it would sound like sulfus, but that's, remember, sulfur and phosphorus, we add the UR or OR back on, so it would be sulfurous acid. Now let's take an example. We have HBr. Our anion is bromide. It ends in IDE, which means we are going to add hydro in front of it. We're going to keep the brom, BROM, and we're going to change the "ide" to "ic." So this will be hydrobromic acid. HNO2, our anion is NO2. So we need to look on our polyatomic ions chart to find out what the name of NO2 is, and that is nitrite. We are going to change our "ite" to "us, so nitrous, and then add acid. So HNO2 is nitrous acid. I'd like for you to pause the video and write the acid name for H2SO3. Come back and check your answer. Now let's go from names to formulas. Okay, so we're just going to take our rules and go backwards. So we have sulfuric acid. It ends in "ic," and it does not start with hydro. So we're going to change our "ic" to "ate." Now remember, with sulfur and phosphorus, we have to take off the endings. So we're going to take off the UR, and it would be, the anion name would be sulfate. So every acid begins with an H. So we're going to put an H. And it has a +1 charge. And our sulfate is an SO4 with a -2 charge. Now we are going to crisscross to write the formulas. That 2 goes down by the H, so it's H2. And that 1 goes down by the SO4. And since there's only one, we can drop the parentheses. So sulfuric acid is H2SO4. Hydroiodic acid. Well, our acid begins with hydro and ends in ic, so that means that our anion name has to end in IDE, ide. So I erase the hydro, we get rid of that, and we change the ic to ide, which means our anion name is iodide. Now let's write our formula now that we know what our anion is. All acids begin with H, and it is a plus charge, +1. An iodide is an I. It is in group 17, which means it has 7 valence shell electrons. Now remember, everything will bond until it looks like a noble gas, so they want 8. Is it easier to gain 1 or lose 7? It's easier to gain 1, that's its oxidation number. Now we crisscross, and this 1 here goes down by the H, and this 1 goes down by the I. So the formula for hydroiodic acid is HI. Looks a lot like high. Now I'd like for you to pause the video, write the acid formula for nitric acid, and come back and check your answer. Thanks for watching.